Fridays are adequate. Trying something different doesn't have the same ring. I'm Carl Azus. Thank you for watching. With relations between the U.S. and Russia at their worst point since the Cold War ended, this was a particularly alarming sight to the U.S. military. Russian fighter jets making extremely close flights to U.S. Navy destroyer. This was recorded earlier this week aboard the USS Donald Cook. It was sailing in the Baltic Sea in northern Europe. The Russian planes were unarmed, but a U.S. official says one flew within 30 feet of the ship in a very aggressive style of flight. Encounters between American and Russian ships and planes are common. There's not much concern about them as long as they're done safely. But the U.S. military says this wasn't safe, and up-close events like this between America and Russia have become more common in recent months. The U.S. has been increasing its military presence in nearby countries, including some that share borders with Russia, to reassure American allies that it supports them. 2 years after terrorists kidnapped hundreds of girls from their boarding school in eastern Nigeria, CNN has gotten access to a recent video of some of the captives. Officials believe this was recorded last December, that it was made as proof that the girls are still alive, and that it's part of the negotiations between the Nigerian government and the terrorist kidnappers. They abducted 276 girls on April 14, 2014. Some managed to escape. 219 are still missing. The kidnapping caused international fury, and the video has renewed that at both the militants and the Nigerian government for failing to rescue the girls. Most of those who were kidnapped were Christian, and authorities believe they were forced to convert to Islam by a terrorist group called Boko Haram.
Boko Haram is an Islamic militant group operating out of Nigeria.
Their name means Western education is forbidden. Boko Haram's first known attack on multiple police stations happened in 2003.
But they became better known around the world for the kidnapping of over 200 schoolgirls in April 2014.
What are we asking?
Bring back our girls now and alive!
They want to create an Islamic state in Nigeria.
A country that's split into a majority Muslim north and a mostly Christian south. They now control much of northeastern Nigeria. That's an area about the size of Belgium and almost as big as the US state of Maryland.
We're talking 30,000 square kilometers.
Nigeria has now formed a military coalition with neighboring countries and are carrying out airstrikes against the militants.
It's early days yet, but there has been some success. Beating the terror group, however, could be an uphill battle
because of low morale and corruption allegations within the Nigerian army.
Its soldiers are under-resourced, poorly paid, and often just outgunned by Boko Haram.
Welcome to the Call of the Roll. Let's see who's watching this Friday. In southeast Georgia, we're starting in the city of Ludowici. The Wildcats are there at Long County Middle School. In southern New Hampshire, we're visiting the city of Nashua. At Elm Street Middle School, the Eagles are taking flight. And on the Korean Peninsula, hello to our viewers at Onbop High School. It's in the South Korean city of Ansong. Looking at the math of the U.S. presidential contest, you see that Republican frontrunner, businessman Donald Trump, has an estimated 758 delegates. Texas Senator Ted Cruz has 538. Ohio Governor John Kasich has 145. To clinch the Republican nomination, 1,237 delegates are needed. The Democratic frontrunner, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, has an estimated 1,304 pledged delegates and 486 superdelegates. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has 1,075 pledged delegates, 38 superdelegates. To clinch the Democratic nomination, 2,383 delegates are needed. So even though most states have had their nominating contests, no one candidate has clinched his or her party's nomination. This makes a brokered or open or contested convention more likely this summer. Delegates could have multiple votes in a contested convention before they settle on a nominee. Here's one concern about how those votes could be influenced.
If the Republicans get to a contested convention and if nobody wins on the first two ballots, virtually every delegate out here on the floor would become unbound, meaning he or she can vote as they please. And some believe that could create a yard sale for delegates. What do we mean? Well, any given delegate showing up here would know what the rules are. The rules say that they cannot accept any gifts from corporations or from foreign nationals or from federal contractors. Those are all no-nos. But the rules also say they can accept gifts from political PACs and from individuals. So if a political PAC says, you know what, we are supporting one candidate and we'd like to give you first-class travel here and a limousine ride to a lavish hotel where we'll put you up and we'll give you fancy meals while you're here. Not trying to buy your vote, just trying to show you how much candidate so-and-so appreciates you. That might be one form that this could take. What if you have an individual donor who supports one of the candidates and says, and I'd like to throw in a gift bag. It's going to include some nice snacks, maybe a designer watch, perhaps you can have some new headphones or maybe a new tablet computer, maybe tickets to a ball game or some show you'd like to see. Again, under the national rules, all of that would be okay. There may be local rules in the state that keep him from doing it. And again, it's not direct buying or selling of a vote, because after all, some will say that what these people really want is access to the candidates, a chance to visit some. But even that might go better if you said, come on, we'll discuss the issues over a round of golf at some exclusive club. Or maybe all the delegates should go away with this candidate to the Bahamas for the weekend to discuss all the issues and the politics around this. The bottom line is the party says it doesn't really want to see this happen. The campaigns are all suggesting they don't want to see it happen. But the rules say it's okay. So some say there could be supporters out there who may yet want to push a free set of Kasich steak knives, or maybe a cruise, or maybe even a Trump helicopter tour to win over those last delegate votes.
I can't take credit for the soccer player pun Ronaldo. Someone else beat me to it. And this is the reason why. His real name is Alfie. He's a rescue. His owner says he started out just chasing and pushing a soccer ball, but that within a few days he was dribbling, and he eventually learned to do great headers. At 2 years old, Alfie, or Ronaldo, even gets recognized in the park, though his owner says they always try to keep his paws on the ground. Too bad he can't compete in the World Cup. Even though he'd be the best friend of any referee, he'd never be penalized for a handball, and he'd make a great groundkeeper. He's got twice the legs as anyone else. He'd regularly go out of hounds, and he'd quickly be dogs qualified. I'm Carl Azuz, and we've got to goal. Have a great weekend.